Hey guys, I just wanted to do my review of The Flash, Season 3, Episode 3, Magenta. So, Barry and Iris finally go on their first date. They try not to talk about anything work related or anything related to The Flash, and it becomes automatically very awkward. And the first couple of scenes they're in together kind of explores how it's really not as smooth of a transition for them to go from just being friends to lovers, and they're both called. The date ends abruptly because they both got a call from Cisco about a breach opened in Star Labs, and Harry and Jesse arrive. Jesse, who reveals herself to be a speedster and whose powers have manifested recently, and so Caitlin decides to take them to a speed lab, which is another result of Barry tampering with time. That was something that was built in this new timeline now. And it's from there that, and because Earth 2 wasn't affected by Flashpoint or any changes that Barry made to the timeline, that Harry is able to immediately deduce that Barry had tampered with the timeline. But it's not until they're in the know about Dr. Alchemy that they have to explain Flashpoint and basically how Barry went back in time to save his mom to create Flashpoint, and now Dr. Alchemy has memories of Flashpoint and sending visions to people who were metahumans in Flashpoint and giving them their powers back. And of course, the title character is named Magenta, and she's a unique case because she has a split personality in which one named Frankie Kane. And Magenta is like a manifestation of her actual anger and her power, which is basically to manipulate metal like Magneto. And she's a person of interest in a case in which a lamppost went through a window of her foster home, like incapacitating her foster dad because he was an abusive drunk. And Magenta took over because she's a manifestation of the anger and pain that she suffers at his hands. And so they're both being questioned by Joe and Julian at the precinct, and she's going through I guess like a fingerprint or a DNA sample from a glass of water Frankie was drinking, and realizes that she has the same that the genetic material matches the husk of the other Flashpoint metahumans. And like an asshole, he immediately goes and confronts her and confronts a traumatized girl, and the Magenta personality takes over, nearly kills him and almost everybody in the police station, which makes you realize it's like, okay, yeah, I get that you need somebody in this, on the show who doesn't like automatically just like Barry and who's going to be more like antagonistic, even though they're supposed to be on the side of good. But the fact that it's like he did something like this stupid and asinine and bullheaded, it doesn't really warm me up to the character. It's not a really great way, in my opinion, to warm me up to this character. Wherein one of the first things you do is like treat everybody you work with like inferiors because he's more intelligent than everybody else, and nearly get everybody killed. I mean, I'm sure people like the people he has his fans just because it's Tom Felton. He's used to playing assholes in his other works, but still, I really think this is a guy who they need to flesh out his character and give him some more character development and fast. And of course, Wally being hit by the dark matter along with Jesse is still feeling upset about the fact that he didn't get any powers like Barry or Jesse, and he wants to be a speedster. And both Iris and Joe Joe especially tries to talk to him about, you don't need to be a speedster to do good in the world, to stay in school, to get that engineering degree, and you'll be able to help out the world in your own way. But of course he confides in Jesse about how he feels about it, and how he's been having like these dreams about being a speedster. And when Jesse describes how she got her powers by being in danger and almost getting hit by a car, he goes into the middle of the street and tries to repeat the same incident, and Jesse saves his life, but both she and Barry called him out on how stupid and reckless it was. And I guess another issue with Jessie is that Harry doesn't like the fact that she's becoming a speedster and that she's going to be putting herself in danger, and tries to get Caitlin to talk to her about it, who is very specifically saying things like, like I have no experience having powers, so I am definitely not the person you should be talking to, who should be talking to her. And Jessie sees through that and realizes that she was only brought over to have everybody talk her out of not being a superhero. She storms out, and then basically Caitlin gets pissed off and vents her own frustration, and also calls Harry out at the same time about how, if you would be more accepting of her powers and instead of rejecting her, instead of trying to make the problem go away, that she would get closer to you instead of alienating you, and just leaves Harry in stunned silence. And so he realizes that, Caitlin's right, and she lets Jessie go and help Flash, especially when Iris is trying to get the drunk dad, and even calls him an abusive dick, out of the hospital, because the Magenta personality is taking over, and Dr. Alchemy convinced her he has to do something. He has to kill the dad in order for the Magenta to take full control of Frankie. And so she's able to lift up a tanker on top of the hospital building, and Barry has to run around doing this figure eight wind tunnel to keep it in the air. But then Jessie comes to assist and says I'll take over from here. You just go get Magenta. And Barry's able to, instead of just knocking her out, is able to just reason with her and just saying, don't let Magenta take over. And she's able to, and Barry's able to talk her down and stop the freighter from crushing everyone. And later reveals that the dad's being prosecuted for the abuse, and that she's being taken to with a nice foster family in Keystone, who won't be put through the same level of abuse. And how she kept talking about her encounter with Dr. Alchemy, and how she kept having visions, and how the visions felt very real, and that's how she lured to Dr. Alchemy in the same way that the rival was in episode 2. And you have this look on Wally's face when he realizes that she understands what Frankie was going through, and realizes they weren't just dreams. He realizes he's having memories of Flashpoint too. Of course, he doesn't disclose this to anybody, but I don't know. It just felt. I mean, it was very interesting. It was definitely an interesting episode, but it just kind of felt a little bit, I don't know, lackluster. But it was cool to see. What is it? Jessie get her new costume, which is basically a tailored, modified version of Trajectory's costume from season 2, with the Flash lightning emblem on it. The lightning is colored black now, and I don't know. It's a little bit lackluster. I felt like the episode was a little bit lackluster, and I'm not even sure what direction the show's going in at this point. I just hope that it kind of gains some momentum. Again, with the fleshing out of Julian, and it seems like they're kind of hinting that Wally may get his powers back from Flashpoint through Dr. Alchemy, which makes me wonder, what was the point of that whole tease last season of him getting hit with the dark matter, if he was just going to get his powers through this whole Flashpoint storyline. But then the episode ends with Barry and Iris finally going on their date and deciding that, you know what, these are the lives we lead, this is who we are. And so Barry takes Iris on a more romantic date by an oceanside disappear. But then he, of course, has to leave abruptly when Barry and Julian look at surveillance footage of Edward Claris, the rival, being killed in his cell by this these flashes of light, which they're not sure what it is. It looks like it's hinted that it could be Savitar, and that maybe he was like another Flashpoint metahuman that got his powers back through alchemy, but it remains to be seen. I hope he's just sort of like a second in command to Dr. Alchemy, and maybe won't be maybe like a main villain, but maybe like sort of like a villain for maybe like the first half or something, or like parts of the season, and then they'll focus on alchemy again. We'll see. But what do you guys think of the episode and the tease at the end? And are you looking forward to the Mirror Master episode tomorrow night? Leave your thoughts in the comments down below. If you like this video, like, share, and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys soon. Take care.